You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
Happening tonight, President Trump will announce his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court.
Also happening today, a major construction project begins in downtown Venice. We're going to tell you what you can expect.
4 down, 8 to go. An update from Thailand, where now an American entrepreneur is looking to help that stranded youth soccer team. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now. We have made it to Monday. Good morning, July 9th. I'm Ray Collins.
And I'm Stephanie Webb. We're all back from vacation.
That's right.
Welcome back. We're the three once again. Thanks for waking up with us this morning.
Reunite the Beatles.
That's right.
John Scalzi's got details of the week forecast. Hey, John.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We have some pretty decent weather for you today. First of all of the tropical systems which we were following last week pose no threat to the state of Florida. That's the first thing. Second thing is it's going to be a hot, humid day today without much of a rain chance. We do have some scattered clouds around the area, but mostly we have some clear skies out there. There's Chris. It'll probably be a hurricane later in the day today. But again, even though it's pretty close by, its effect on us is pretty minimal. In fact, it's actually drying us out a little bit. And as we progress through the afternoon, we'll watch this kind of tan color, which is the dry air around Chris, kind of continue to stream down toward the state of Florida, providing us with a less than average rain chance today. Morning commute looks good. Not much in the way of any kind of rainfall around. In fact, expect to see dry conditions throughout the morning commute and the commute home this afternoon. It does look like our daytime high tops out warm, though. Consequently, no rain, no showers, lots of heat. 92 the daytime high. We'll have the complete forecast for you coming up in a few.
Soon. Thank you, John. Checking the roads, 301 southbound as you cross Samoset there in Manatee County. Otherwise, pretty clear in that section. Farther south down to the northern half of Sarasota County. An issue there on 301, an accident in the Newtown area. We'll click on that to find out more about exactly where that is. You might want to avoid Newtown in the meantime. Can we click on that one? All right. Let's go farther south now and find out what the South County maps reveal for us. And it is now 5:02 on your Monday morning.
Well, this morning in Thailand, a second rescue operation has begun, hoping to bring more boys out of that cave that they've been trapped in now for just over 2 weeks. Now, yesterday's rescue was a success. 4 of the soccer players trapped were brought out, each one accompanied by his own Navy SEAL diver. Each one was immediately taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Now, the initial plan was to bring out the 4 boys in the best health, but a physician who's also one of the divers, he actually switched up the plan and brought out some of the weakest instead. Now, it could take 4 days to bring out all remaining 9.
An underwater pod that might be used in the cave rescue in Thailand is now on its way to the site. That's from entrepreneur Elon Musk, who posted videos of the vessel being tested in Los Angeles. He says his engineers designed what he called a kid-sized submarine with input from workers in Thailand. Musk says the vessel can be carried by 2 divers and can pass through narrow gaps in the cave. He tweeted he is hoping the vessel will be used in Thailand or in some future rescue.
Well, tonight, President Trump is set to announce his Supreme Court nominee to fill the seat of retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy in a primetime televised address tonight. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports from outside the Supreme Court in Washington.
President Trump is taking a page out of his reality show days, announcing during primetime his pick for the vacant Supreme Court seat.
We're very close to making a decision.
How many people are you deciding between?
Well, it's still, let's say it's the 4 people, and they're excellent. Everyone, you can't go wrong.
Most Democrats would disagree. Going with an ultra-conservative judge to replace retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy could tip the balance of the court for decades.
If you look at what the president said, which is he will nominate someone only if that person is committed to automatically overturn Roe v. Wade. I've never seen a president of the United States, in effect, make himself a puppet of outside groups.
The top 4 judges were handpicked out of a group of 25 by a group of conservative lawyers called the Federalist Society. Judge Brett Kavanaugh, Raymond Kethledge, Thomas Hardiman, and Amy Coney Barrett. Kavanaugh has said he would follow Roe v. Wade fully. Barrett, more nuanced, saying she would not challenge precedent, but that she could envision the scope of abortion rights changing. Kethledge and Hardiman have never spoken publicly about their views on the matter.
I think the president has to think about it. Who is the easiest to get confirmed here?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has promised a vote on the new Supreme Court nominee by the fall. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News at the Supreme Court.
Well, happening today, some big changes are coming to the downtown Venice area.
Our Marla Spence has a preview of some major upgrades coming to the Venice roadways. Marla?
Hey, Ray and Stephanie, today will officially begin some work for the downtown area. Now, it's all in hopes of beautifying and also enhancing the charm of this historic area. Starting today, the project will reconstruct Tampa, Venice, and Miami Avenues between US 41 Business and Harbor Drive. Now, a list of changes includes stormwater and drainage improvements, new landscaping, and additional stop signs that'll create a four-way stop in this area. A city engineer here in Venice tells us this is a decision the city has had to make in an effort to keep downtown Venice a great place for visitors and people who live here. He says the upgrades will come after having a lot of aging infrastructure and very poor conditions and landscaping that's either damaged or diseased. We spoke to the assistant city manager, and he tells us he's excited for the project that's expected to take off today.
Things that have really needed attention for a long time. We're finally going to get it. We all kind of complain and suffer through it, but I think at the end of it, it's going to be wonderful.
And beautifying this area isn't the only concern in this city. So is the safety of its pedestrians, the visitors, and also the people who live here. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to be telling you what additions to this project they'll be doing in an effort to also keeping people safe. Reporting live in Venice, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, thank you, Marla. Now to a scam that could be all too easy to fall for. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office is warning the community after receiving 2 calls regarding a scam that imitates law enforcement. Now, in both cases, the caller identified themselves as a member of the agency, advising that you have a warrant, requesting a payment for bail over the phone. These scams can even display the agency's phone number on your caller ID. Now, a good way to protect yourself if you ever question a call from a government agency or a business, simply hang up the phone, call back the official number that you would generally use in that case.
Happening today, a vote that could mean Sarasota residents pay more taxes. City Manager Tom Barwin wants to raise taxes, but a majority of commissioners are saying not so fast. The city hasn't raised the tax rate in 5 years. Despite the increased revenue from property values going up, if the tax increase stands, the average homeowner would pay about $18 more per year.
If you live in the city of Venice, you can expect your property taxes to go up, but just a little. The final rate increase still has to go through 2 public hearings. Now, if it is approved, money from the increase will go toward road and beach improvements, as well as the funding for the new Venice Pier.
Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, more traffic cones and more bulldozers in one section of Manatee County, the construction project that's on the way.
And coming up a little later in the hour, violent protests in Haiti continue this morning. We're going to have the latest, though, on that local Bradenton church group that's still stranded there. But first,
we'd like to show you the various live shots around the globe.
Welcome back from vacation, Ray. There's your Ferris wheel.
There's my Ferris. I'm going to ride that Ferris wheel someday.
I hope so.
At the capital of Georgia, downtown Atlanta. That was a pretty shot there at this hour of the day. How about the local forecast, John?
Yeah, looks good for us. No problems whatsoever with your morning commute. All the boxes are unchecked this morning. In fact, the drive out will be nice. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s and will be kind of humid, but still very mild temperatures. And then as you head home, maybe an isolated inland shower at worst. And if you're a traveler today, all airport hubs serving Sarasota International are running on time, according to the FAA. We'll be right back with your forecast.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
At Tidewell Hospice, we know it's never too late to say thank you to our military veterans. The Tidewell Honors Veterans Program has provided care to more than 13,000 military families since 2008. Tidewell volunteers help honor veterans through special pinning ceremonies that demonstrate our appreciation for the freedom our veterans fought to defend. If you know a veteran who can benefit from end-of-life care, call or visit tidewell.org today. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
77-degree air temperature right now. We have a dew point value coming in at 73, so that's still pretty warm. But nevertheless, the spread between temperature and dew point is sufficient that relative humidity is not that bad at 88%. I mean, for summer in Florida. Anyway, we're looking at a day that will feature not much in the way of a rainfall chance. In fact, the rainfall chance, well, I think if I put it at 20%, I think I'm being generous, actually. And most of those showers will be in inland areas. It'll come early in the day, our rain chance for most of us, and then everything kind of translates into inland areas as the sea breeze passes through. By 7 a.m., we'll be at about 78 degrees, 90 by 12 noon. Plenty of sunshine around, and then as we head into the afternoon, watch for about 92 degrees there, and then in the evening, pleasant evening, I think. We'll have pretty much clear skies. Should be a nice sunset with a temperature of 7 p.m. of about 87 degrees. So across our region right now, things are pretty quiet. Now, we did have a scattered shower or two over the last 24 hours, mostly to the north of us, but there is some drier air that's filtering its way in, and that is limiting the number of storms across the peninsula today. Dry right now, morning commute, as I mentioned, going to be A-OK, no issues here. There's Chris, kind of a formidable looking tropical storm. It's a very powerful tropical storm, actually. Very good definition, nice symmetry in relatively warm waters. I think we'll probably see this develop into a hurricane a little bit later in the day. It's got 60-mile-an-hour winds right now. One thing it's doing is actually benefiting our weather by driving down some drier air. That's what that tan color is here in mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, limiting rain chances across the state and providing us with some pretty nice skies today. Lots of sunshine. Quick look elsewhere in the tropics. Remember, last week we were talking about Beryl. Beryl's located way out here, moving into areas of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. It's going to bring some rain showers, but basically Beryl has fallen apart. Now we just have a remnant storm, and the Hurricane Center is no longer identifying it as a tropical system. It's lost those characteristics. As we mentioned last week, it's fallen apart. Now our attention just turns to Chris, and really Chris doesn't have much of an impact on our weather either, except for that drier air moving in. In fact, most of the United States won't even notice it. 60-mile-an-hour winds right now, probably becoming a hurricane later in the day. Forecast to continue on a track that takes it out to sea, kind of paralleling the mid-Atlantic coastline. Now, one thing that it might do is that it might bring some high surf and maybe some coastal erosion to parts of the mid-Atlantic, Outer Banks of North Carolina, etc. So it spins around, its circulation draws down some drier air for us, brings us generally a northerly wind flow, and keeps us on the low side of average rainfall chances. Eventually, that kind of moves away, as I mentioned earlier, a track carrying it parallel to the mid-Atlantic coastline. And as it does that, we'll watch our winds kind of reverse just a little bit and come in out of the Gulf waters and maybe produce a little bit better rain chances. Best rain chances, I think, will be to the north of us. The little bit of drier air that's in place across our region, kind of limiting rainfall chances to us today to about 20%. Slightly better rain chances as we head into midweek, however. So mostly sunny today, an isolated storm possible, but those better midweek rain chances will be with us really for the second half of the work week right into the weekend, I think. Slightly better rain chances anyway. Futurecast shows those rains, popping up here and there. I won't say we won't see anything at all, but our rain chances are going to be fairly minimal and located mostly in inland areas where the sea breeze moves through and creates those showers. So maybe Hardy, DeSoto counties, inland Charlotte counties, that's your best bet for seeing rainfall today. Along the coastline, I think it should be pretty dry and a pretty nice evening, actually, for a beach walk. Good news, some of the reports from Mote Marine Spotters indicate kind of a reduction, a little bit of a reduction in the amount of red tide irritants in the air. And we'll be discussing that in the next half hour. Northwest wind coming in at about 10 knots, turning north at about 10, 2-foot seas, light chop on your bay and inland waters. We'll have across the region, we'll look at about a 92 for a daytime high today. Same thing tomorrow, 20 to 30% chance of showers. By the time we get to Wednesday or Thursday, I think we'll start to up the rain chance just a little bit. And then as we head into the weekend, we'll continue on with hot, humid conditions. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Tropical Storm Chris caused hurricane hunters to fly off the coast of Carolina this past weekend. The Weather Reconnaissance Squadron took off from Keesler Air Force Base in Gulfport, Mississippi over the weekend to gather information. The hurricane hunters will be sending data on the storm to the National Weather Center. That information will help determine where the storm is headed.
Our data helps minimize the forecasted track and better determine who needs to get out of the way, who needs to evacuate and get gone. It's very important to us.
Busy weekend. Hurricane hunters also checked out the remnants of former Tropical Storm Beryl off Puerto Rico.
All right now let's take a look and check out the first alert traffic going on out there this morning. In Manatee County, the roads are running pretty smooth. No real issues out there so far. In Sarasota County, those roads aren't looking too bad so far just yet either. Everything's running pretty decent. There is one accident we want to tell you about right there at the top of your screen. 301 Washington Boulevard in the southbound right lane that's blocked right there at Myrtle Street. So at 301, which turns into Washington Boulevard, right there in the southbound right-hand lane, it's blocked at Myrtle Street. Heading a little bit farther south in the area, both 75 and 41 are running pretty decent so far this morning. 518, that is your first alert traffic.
And speaking of traffic, more traffic cones and bulldozers are expected real soon in Manatee County. State transportation officials plan to start construction on the I-75 interchange at State Road 70. As ABC7's Erica Jackson shows us, developers are preparing for the additional visitors expected to travel through that area.
Along State Road 70, construction is set to begin later this year, but you may see even more crews building on vacant land like this in the future.
It's going to be more of like a cluster.
Brooke Freeman often drives from Sarasota to State Road 70 in Bradenton to see her husband at work. That drive will soon hit a roadblock as crews start another diamond project at the highway.
It's just so crazy the different ways you can go in and off. I just don't like it.
As Lakewood Ranch continues to evolve, we need the proper road infrastructure to really serve not only our tourism, but our residents as well.
Construction will likely last 3 years once it starts at the exit ramps on I-75. And widening continues along the interstate between State Road 64 and University Parkway.
That certainly helps attract people to the area if they can move around freely.
Manatee County Planning Commissioners approved plans for a hotel next to the existing Country Inn and Suites and another just east of the area along the interstate.
You'll probably see these two being the final build out for probably the next 3 to 5 years.
As the growth makes way for more tourists, it's not enough to scare off locals like Freeman.
I've been here my whole life. I'm not going anywhere.
The Bradenton Visitors Bureau tells us 700 new hotel rooms are coming to Manatee County in the next 14 months. That figure does not include the 200 rooms that would make up the 2 new hotels planned for this area. Reporting in Manatee County, Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
And this week, FDOT will also be on hand to answer your questions about another big project in the area at 15th Street East and 9th Avenue in Bradenton. FDOT wants to turn that intersection into a roundabout at a cost of just over $2 million. Now, if you want to weigh in on the project, you can attend the meeting tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at Rogers Community United Methodist Church. Well, still to come on Good Morning Suncoast, MoviePass had some big problems Friday night. We're going to tell you how the company plans to make it right with its users. That's coming up in today's Tech Bites.
And next half hour at 5:30, an unwelcome guest in a man's shed. Had him spending the 4th of July in the hospital.
I don't feel good about this story.
We'll tell you what he wants to warn you about coming up.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
All right, check this out. Dramatic video from Hawaii as lava continues to spread throughout the island. It has now been 67 days since the Kilauea volcano erupted, and it is finally starting to few signs of slowing down. The U.S. Geological Survey now says that the main flow of lava is slowing down. It's no longer able to reach the coast, which is definitely a good sign for residents there.
Yeah, finally some progress.
Yeah, finally. Well, if you tried to use your movie pass over this past weekend, you may have noticed a couple glitches or may have even been unable to use your pass.
How they plan to fix the problem in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, MoviePass making good for widespread outage. Users of the movie subscription service reported problems checking into a movie on Friday night.
MoviePass resolved the issue after just a few hours, and it's now offering a full refund to users who had to pay full price.
Might be God's plan, but Drake has broken a record with his newly released album, Scorpion.
It's the first album to ever rack up 1 billion streams in just 1 week. Scorpion has also sold 732,000 copies in its first week, making it the biggest album debut so far this year. And a new study says if you want to appear rich, just get an iPhone.
University of Chicago economists say no individual brand indicates high income status as much as owning an iPhone. Of course, that might not be the case, but researchers say if you have an iPhone, you're likely in a wealthy demographic.
Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Tech Bites, sponsored by Allstate.
I'm a tin can tied to your bumper, because I don't think enough people heard about your big day. But nothing says we got married like a 12-ounce piece of scrap metal.
Yo, we got married! Honk if you like joint assets.
Now you're so busy soaking up all the attention.
You don't see the car in front of you.
And if I can crash your perfect day, imagine what I could do to the rest of them. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Add the Activia 2-week probiotic challenge to your healthy routine and see how Activia yogurt, with its billions of live and active probiotics, may help support your digestive health so you can take on your day. Start the Activia Probiotic Challenge today. It works or it's free.
What's the #1 new skincare product in 2018? Olay Whips. Absorbs faster than the $100, $200, and even $400 cream.
Feels amazing. I really, really love this. I will 100% swap out my moisturizer. Can I have it?
Olay Whips.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Me, pick me. Oh, come on, man. Oh, man, I love technology. Hey, yo, check out my new phone. Look at this right here. For years, the DeSoto Club has needed improvements. Join me and Boys and Girls Club of Manatee County as we raise money to build a brand new facility. It will be bigger and better, just like it was 40 years ago when I attended. Invest in kids, build great futures.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Major success in Thailand as crews rescued 4 members of the trapped soccer team yesterday. Another rescue operation is underway right now to bring more of them out.
Happening today, a major construction project begins today in downtown Venice. We'll have a live preview.
And the annual Lionfish Derby has been going on all weekend. It was your chance to both hunt and taste the invasive species. We're going to tell you who won the cooking contest in the Derby. We have those stories plus your first alert forecast. It all starts now on Good Morning Suncoast. And good morning to you. Welcome to this Monday morning. I'm Stephanie Webb.
I'm Ray Collins. It is July the 9th. We're back together. You were off for a while. I was off for a while.
Right? Feels weird to have both of us sitting at this table.
Yeah, even John missed a day last week, I think.
know.
We had Wendy for a moment. Good morning, John.
I was sick, though.
Oh, okay.
Sick of us.
You weren't here. How could I be sick of you? So we're looking at some pretty nice weather for you today. Not much in the way of any kind of rainfall chances around. We're looking at some drier air that's kind of filtered in around the periphery of a newly formed tropical storm, soon to become a hurricane. We'll talk about that in a second. Right now, everything's pretty quiet out there, but just off the coast of the mid-Atlantic, we do have Chris. Chris continues to spin around, and as it does so, slings back some drier air. Now, it doesn't mean we won't see any rainfall across the state of Florida. We certainly will, especially in northern parts of the state. But for us, I think we'll probably have a less than average rainfall chance today. It's dry right now. Morning commute should be A-OK. No issues there. And as we head into the afternoon, we'll watch the temperature soar up into the lower 90s, probably around 92 or so for a daytime high. And it'll be humid, but perhaps a little less so than we might normally see. I mean, we look for the bright side in 92-degree temperatures wherever we can find them, right? Back to you guys.
Very well said. Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic now. Still a buildup there on 301 southbound. As you cross Samoset, he tried to say. Otherwise, pretty clear in Manatee County. Checking farther south now, the northern half of Sarasota County. Still an ongoing issue at 301 and Myrtle southbound lane. As you come from University, the right lane is blocked due to a car accident there, so be aware of that if you're coming from Manatee into Sarasota County on 301. Otherwise, all clear, and then checking our final map to the south, that'll indicate no problems at 5:32 on this Monday morning.
Well, rescue operations are underway again this morning in Thailand. Now, yesterday, huge success as divers rescued 4 of those trapped soccer players. Now, this morning, divers are racing against the clock and more rain to get the other 9 out and to safety. Reporter Andrew Spencer has the latest.
Rescuers dove back into the cave Monday, trying to get as many people out as they can before the rain starts really coming down.
We have 2 obstacles, water and time.
The weather took a turn for the worse on Sunday. Concerned about the rain, the low oxygen levels inside the cave, and the health of those trapped inside, rescuers sprang into action. Divers were able to get 4 boys out of the cave on Sunday and have them taken to the hospital. There, officials described their conditions as not that bad. Rain flooded the cave and trapped these boys on June 23rd. But after divers found the boys last Monday, the weather seemed to be cooperating. There was no measurable rainfall in this area of northern Thailand for almost a week. That changed on Sunday when it started raining again. Forecasters expect it to keep raining all week, with especially heavy downpours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
This is what we have been racing against since day one. We have to do all we can, even though it is hard to fight the force of nature.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Elsewhere in the world, violent protests continue in Haiti as anger rises there over an increase in fuel prices. And that is despite the government announcing Saturday that they would suspend that price hike. Now, according to the embassy, there are no reports of U.S. citizens being injured so far, but people there are being warned to stay inside and off the streets.
In fact, a Bradenton youth group is stranded right now in Haiti in the middle of those protests. 28 missionaries from the Woodland Community Church went to Haiti to work with the handicapped in the city of Nepli. They are stranded due to the dangerous riots over gas prices there. 3 people died in those riots last Friday, and more bodies were found on the streets today. The Haitian government announced the suspension of the fuel hike on Saturday, but the Bradenton youth group still had trouble driving to the airport and later learned their scheduled home flight was canceled. Some relatives described the anxiety of the situation.
There are some parents, I think, who their kids haven't been on mission trips before that are worried and scared.
More for their family, because I know it's hard, like knowing your son or daughter's in another country and you can't really get to them.
The U.S. Embassy in Haiti is warning Americans to shelter in place.
Well, happening today, some big changes are coming to the downtown Venice area.
City leaders say it's been a long time coming for upgrades to that area, but they say it's going to be worth the wait. Marla Spence joins us live now from downtown Venice with a look at what workers will be doing today. Marla?
Hey, Ray and Stephanie, beautification and safety is top priority for downtown Venice. Workers will be out today starting this morning on that beautification project that's expected to happen and start this morning. Now, this is a look at what the beautification project will look like once it's finally completed. In an effort to keeping business booming in this area, there will be improvements to drainage and landscaping, but that's not all. There will be also safety improvements for pedestrians. Now, those changes will include installing crosswalks, lighting, reducing cross distances for pedestrians, and installing pedestrian fencing to guide pedestrians. We spoke to the market manager for the Venice Farmers Market, and he tells us while this area undergoes changes, the location of the famous Farmers Market will move to City Hall. He says he doesn't mind, though, because this is a project that will hopefully impact downtown Venice in a good way.
All the work and thought that's gone into this, it's really not only going to be a structural upgrade, but you can also really see where aesthetically it's going to be beautiful when they're done. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So I think we're going to be here for the season.
And many people have been wondering when exactly will this project be completed. Well, we're told that is expected to be completed February 2019. Reporting live in Venice, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. A tense 24-hour standoff in Lakeland has now ended with a little girl safe and her father dead. Polk Sheriff's deputies, Lakeland police, and members of the Tampa Bomb Squad converged on this neighborhood. The incident began with a domestic dispute early Saturday. Deputies say 39-year-old Gary Cawley became enraged when he found out his estranged wife planned on taking their daughter to the beach with another man. She called 911. A standoff began, and hours later, he let her go.
Gary told Rylan just before he sent her out the front door that don't be afraid of the deputies. They're not going to hurt you. Go walk out and walk to the deputies. And then he told Rylan, and then I'm going to kill myself.
That's about right. Deputies tried shooting chemicals into the house to force him out. They say eventually he did shoot and kill himself.
Well, a memorial has opened up for the Aurora theater shooting that happened 6 years ago in Colorado during a midnight screening of the movie The Dark Knight Rises. Now, 12 were killed that night, 70 injured, 58 of them from gunfire. These white cranes represent the injured that night back in 2012. Cranes with the clear wings are for those that lost their lives at night. It's the work of artist Dewey Bloomberg. He hopes that that memorial can help with the healing process.
I think the 83 individual birds is a powerful visual of what happened that night.
Now, that sculpture was finished less than 2 weeks before the 6-year anniversary of the shooting.
All weekend long, divers were in the Gulf off Sarasota in an annual competition to catch the invasive lionfish. As part of Sarasota's 5th annual Lionfish Derby, fishermen removed 545 lionfish from area waters. Last year, though, they caught over 1,000. Scientists say the data fishermen did collect will go to a long way toward studying the lionfish population, as well as the behavior and adaptations over time. Others had a chance to actually sample lionfish for a meal.
I wanted to try lionfish, kind of on my bucket list. Avid fisherman myself. I'm born and raised here, and they need to, they're invasive. They got to get rid of them. So if they can do something like this to help get rid of them, and we can get a good full belly and something to eat, and I'm all for it.
Top chefs also took part in a cooking competition for the tastiest lionfish dish. In first place this year, Chef Jamil from Michael's on East, who's often on our noon show. He served pan-roasted lionfish with, is it just pronounced date?
Yes.
All right.
No, it's pronounced date.
Well, who knows?
It's not.
I'm not too good. I can barely boil water. Oh, sorry. All right, and that was what he won with, from invasive fish to a tasty dish, lionfish derby.
Nice. Can I tell you, I've actually had it before, too. It's really good.
It sounds like it.
It is. It's really good. I feel guilty, but it is really good.
Still ahead, a big screen superhero is going above and beyond. We'll tell you how. But first, the epicenter of all the news right now going on. This is a live shot from the hospital outside Thailand.
That is right. And of course, yesterday, many of us watched, 4 were rescued so far from the cave. This morning, the rescue operations have started once again to try and bring more of them out. They say the total rescue could take place over about the next 4 days. But finally, some good news coming from Thailand.
5:40 right now. As far as local good news, here's John Scalzi.
Was that not just the best news ever? I mean, oh my goodness. So nice to hear that. So we have a fire danger index in 2 of our counties, but a lot of the state of Florida is in the green, which means low. So that's good. The recent rains have done that. Still, Sarasota and Manatee County are still in the moderate risk. Air quality index has come up just a little bit over the course of the week, and we're now in a moderate zone for particulates particularly. Still not unhealthy, but it's not as good as it was last week. Perhaps we will see some changes as we get this north wind driving down. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about our rain chances coming up in a few.
During the past 10 years, Tidewell Hospice volunteers have provided more than 1 million hours of service. They sit with patients, giving caregivers a break. They work in offices. They take their furry friends on pet therapy visits. They even clown around. Every task performed by a volunteer makes a difference in the lives of our patients and their families. Join Tidewell's volunteer team. They're truly 1 in a million. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. We're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jaffe Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we are looking at a temperature of 77 degrees and a dew point of 73. It's a little muggy out there, but it's not too terribly bad, and the temperature is mild. You know, could be certainly at this time of year in the 80s, so I'll take a 77. Heat index comes in at about 78, so there is enough moisture in the air to talk about heat indexes. We are looking at a fairly clear sky out there, although from time to time we get banks of clouds that kind of pass on through. Otherwise, it's going to be a quiet start to the day. 7 a.m. temperature will come in at about 78 degrees. By noon, it's going to be a scorcher. With all that sunshine out there and little chance of rainfall, we're looking at 90 by the time we hit noon. And then we'll have a prolonged period, I think, of temperatures that'll be warm in the 90s this afternoon because we're not going to see a lot of cooling rains around to break the heat. So as we head into the afternoon, watch our temperatures climb to about 92 degrees. We'll have about a 20%, that's it, chance of a shower. It'll come near the coastline first early on, and then all the rain chance drifts inland, what little rain chance there is, as the sea breeze kind of clears the coastline. 7 p.m. temperature comes in at about 87 degrees. Should be a nice evening, actually. Should be pretty. We have a little bit of showery activity to the north of us. This is where the moisture is deeper, although that is about to change, I think. We're going to start seeing some drier air filtering southward, and that'll kind of cut down the rain chances north of us. We have some drier air in place here, and that's going to kind of limit the number of storms that we see today. Maybe as we head into tomorrow and the day after, we might start to increase our moisture just a little bit and up the rain chance, but certainly this morning is just perfect for your drive time commute. Should have no issues going to or coming from work today. There's Chris. It's really developed a nice outflow. It's kind of symmetric. It has some pretty good thunderstorm development, but Hurricane Hunter aircraft have checked it out, and it really hasn't strengthened all that much. In fact, some drier air may be kind of trying to work its way in, which would limit the number of storms that it builds around its center and therefore its strength. Still, I think it's got a pretty good chance of becoming a hurricane a little bit later this afternoon, especially with a little heating. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, it's not going to be a problem for us by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, some of the drier air around the periphery, which is what this tan color is being drawn down into the state of Florida by the circulation around Chris. So no issues whatsoever. And of course, way out here, we have what's left of Beryl. Beryl, we were talking about last week. It became a hurricane. Now it's just a remnant storm. It's basically a cluster of showers is all it is. Has no tropical characteristics, and it won't do much more than just bring some showers to the Leeward Islands. Now, as it lifts north, there's the potential once it gets out here in the nearer waters for some slight redevelopment before it's whisked out to sea. So still no threat to the United States. We'll keep an eye on it still. It's not going to write it off completely yet. So we have Chris. Chris has 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's now moving south, kind of sinking south. That's what it's going to do over the next day or two. It's just going to kind of meander around here, wobbling around, going north, going south. Eventually, it's going to get picked up by a trough of low pressure and rapidly whisked out into the colder waters of the Labrador Currents, where it will just die out pretty quickly. That'll be by this weekend. So we'll be talking about it all week long, keeping an eye on it. But basically, all we're going to see this storm do, most likely, is produce some high surf rip currents along the mid-Atlantic coastline and maybe a little beach erosion. That's about it. So for us, Chris spins. Its circulation brings us a nice dry wind, and we enjoy a couple of days of less than average rainfall. Northwest wind coming in at about 10 knots today, becoming lighter as we head into the evening hours, and 92 our high today. Tomorrow, day after, rain chances coming in at about 20 or 30%. Maybe by late midweek or midweek, we start to see an uptick in our rainfall chances temporarily. And then as we head into the weekend, I think a 30 or 40% chance of rainfall will do it there as well. Back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Let's take a look outside and check some of your first alert traffic. So far out there in Manatee County, those roads are running pretty decent. Just a few delays that are right there on Cortez, but otherwise nothing too much to be worried about. In Sarasota County, those roads are also running pretty good. We do have one accident to keep reminding you about. 301 Washington Boulevard in the southbound lane. The right lane is blocked at Myrtle Street, so that's one to be unaware of in Sarasota County. If you're heading a little bit farther south in 75 or 41, both of those are actually running pretty smooth so far this morning. It is 5:49, and that is your first alert traffic.
A South Carolina man received an unwelcome visitor on the 4th of July that left him in the hospital, and now he's warning others. Jim Crawford says he was leaning around a shed when he saw a snake hidden in a box. Then the snake bit him. His wife's a nurse. She took him straight to the hospital. The venom made his hands swell up right there, and he spent the next 3 days in the hospital where he was given 6 vials of anti-venom.
Lucky that I got there in the short period of time that I got there because it could have been fatal.
I think it was really important that my sister got Jim in the hospital within 20 minutes, and they did administer the anti-venom.
He says it's important to remember the color and shape of a snake, which can help with treatment of bites.
Well, there is a reason that she is named Wonder Woman. David Daniel has more in this weekend's box office in Hollywood.
It is our sacred duty to defend the world, and it's what I'm going to do.
Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman, on screen and to the patients and staff at Inova Children's Hospital in Falls Church, Virginia. Gadot, who'd been filming in the area recently, visited the kids dressed in her superhero costume. Wonder Woman 1984, now in production, is due out in November 2019.
Carrie, to your right, please.
Kerry Russell may be headed to a galaxy far, far away. Variety reports the actress is in talks to join Star Wars Episode 9, scheduled to begin production at the end of July. It'd be the first time Russell had worked with Episode 9 writer-director J.J. Abrams since Mission Impossible 3, more than a decade ago.
All right, it's showtime.
A lot of people have seen Deadpool 2. It's made $315 million at the domestic box office, but some folks at Comic-Con this month may see a bit more. July 21st, after a panel on the film featuring Deadpool and pals, Fox is hosting what it calls a super-duper special screening of the film, potentially including deleted and extended scenes.
Bring it on, One-Eyed Willie.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Happening today, Prince William and Duchess Catherine's third child, Prince Louis, will be christened today. It'll take place at the Chapel Royal in St. James Palace. It's a 16th century sanctuary. Only about 22 relatives and friends will be attending the 40-minute private ceremony. Were you invited?
I was, yes. I'm one of the 22.
I bet Scalzi was for sure.
I think so, too.
All right, 5:51 will update the day's top news headlines after this.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
It is 5:55, and here are some of the top stories that we've been following for you on the Suncoast today.
President Trump will announce his Supreme Court nominee tonight during prime time. The list has been narrowed down to 4 federal judges.
Plus, day 2 of the cave rescues has started in Thailand after yesterday's successful rescue of 4 of those trapped soccer players. Thai officials say it could take about 4 days to get all remaining 9 out.
Will the tax rate go up in Sarasota? Commissioners will decide tonight whether to accept the recommendation of City Manager Tom Barwin. Critics say the city is already getting about a reported $1 billion influx thanks to increased property values.
And coming up in the next hour, billions of dollars of healthcare payments are on hold. We'll tell you why. And we'll tell you why hundreds of names of kids under the age of 5 who've been separated from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border have now been released. Plus, the Sarasota Sheriff's Office may have found the biggest gator that they have ever had to capture. We're going to tell you just how big this monster really is.
Wow.
I already called dibs on that story,
Yes.
by the way. I dibbed this story yesterday just so I could read it. Wait till you see how big this thing is. It's like it's trying out for Lake Placid 5. It's
Right.
so huge.
There's your tease. That video and much more news next hour on Good Morning Suncoast.